We're expecting more information on the plans for his funeral within the next few minutes. But first we can go over to Karin Giannone, who's in Soweto. And Karin, of course, Soweto being the other main centre where people are gathering to celebrate and to mourn at the same time.
Yes, an interesting combination, Martine, celebration and mourning at the same time. But believe me, yes, it's happening here on the streets of Soweto. You're right, this is the other focal point, another former home of Nelson Mandela. This was his home just slightly down Vilakazi Street, this famous road in Orlando West. It was his home with Winnie Mandela just before he was imprisoned in the 60s. And he came briefly back to the Mandela home, which is now a museum, actually, after his release in 1990, his release from prison. So it has been a focal point. There was an incredible scene last night, thousands of people on the streets, a real party. A significantly lower number of people this afternoon, somewhat calmer, apart from a very vocal group behind me dancing around in a circle, chanting a lot of songs and praise for Nelson Mandela and the struggle. And just contrasting the scene here, we can have a look at what's happening in Houghton, north of here, about 10 miles. A huge crowd have been gathering there. There are a lot of floral tributes, and the number of people is just increasing. It is really an unprecedented thing for a suburb, a quiet suburb of northern Johannesburg to be experiencing, but very much a significant focal point. The Mandela House, where Nelson Mandela spent his final moments of after 95 years on this earth. That house now also a great scene for outpourings of all sorts of emotions, sorrow and joy at what he'd achieved. Let's just hear from some of the people who've come from far and wide to go to the scene in Houghton.
Yes, but I ran to this place today. I'm from Rosettenville today. I ran almost, I can say 30 kilometers from Rosettenville out till here, just for the great icon, because he was the legend to the place.
My son has requested the privilege of he wanted to be here this day, and he begged us if we could bring him out. So I want to make sure that I don't get this back to me saying why I've never brought him out here or things. So we made an effort, waking up early this morning just to be here. So
because I love him and
what
I
else?
care for him, and he's an inspirational person.
Well, the ordinary people of South Africa and beyond have been paying tribute there at Houghton and here in Soweto. But also the reactions from world leaders have been significant. They've been coming in since Thursday night, since the news of Nelson Mandela's death broke across the world. And one of the people we've been hearing from in the last few hours is the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo. Let's have a listen to what he had to say about Madiba.
He was a leader. He acted as a leader. He lived as a leader. And that's simple as that. A leader for his people. A leader who believed in a cause and ready to fight for it and ready to die for it. And that is what matters. And that is what we don't get in most leaders. Leadership means you have to lead. Nelson Mandela was a leader who not only led, he sacrificingly led. And that is a lesson to learn.
So more tributes by the hour, more people coming here to the scene of Nelson Mandela's former home, and among them some guests who we've managed to talk to, Indran and Letitia. Letitia, just tell us where you're from.
We're from Midrand in Johannesburg.
So not far away. Why did you feel the need to come down?
For one, we're celebrating Nelson Mandela's life, and we're trying to teach our kids more about him, and therefore we're at Vilakazi Street today.
You are originally from KwaZulu-Natal, and you remember apartheid very well. What was it like for Asian families under apartheid? Because perhaps that's not one of the details people generally are aware of.
I think we were affected just as the other non-white groups in South Africa. our parents and grandparents obviously were more impacted than us. And I remember times when we were not allowed to go to a lot of places. Our movements were really restricted, and it was really demoralizing. So Mandela has really created something special here for us, where we can go anywhere, do anything, and it's truly a free country.
And do you feel that he very much cared about every community, including yours in South Africa? He really did represent everybody?
Most definitely.
What was it about him that made you feel that?
Just the opportunities that we were faced with. We were quite young when all the struggles took place, so we weren't really fully aware of it, but as we grew into our teenage years, into our adulthood, you know, we learned more about the history, more about what went on during apartheid. And in our prime years, he was the leader that we looked up to because he definitely made a difference in our country.
I know you've brought your children here, your son's standing next to you. I mean, did you feel it's very important to pass on these feelings about Nelson Mandela to your children?
I didn't want to miss the opportunity, especially when it's such a festive atmosphere going on here, so they'll really remember it going into their older years, yeah.
What about that festive atmosphere? Do you think you're still confident, you're still optimistic about South Africa? You believe that the next generation, your children, will have more opportunity than you even?
Most definitely. I think what we see here today has definitely shown how he as a leader has made an impact on the country, and hopefully our future leaders will learn from him and his legacy may live on.
What was your reaction when you first heard the news that Nelson Mandela had died? I mean, obviously he had been critically ill for some time. But did you feel a sense of shock?
We did feel a sense of shock, lots of emotion, but most of all, you know, like I said, his legacy will live on.
Did you feel very sad, or did you feel a celebratory mood at what he'd achieved?
It's like losing a close family member, those emotions. He was a special person, and we really miss him, and we will miss him, basically.
Thank you very much, Letitia and Indra and your children for being here and coming up to see us. And so that sort of sums it up, Martin. It is like, for many people here, and perhaps all South Africans, losing a member of their family.
OK. Thank you very much indeed for now. Karin Giannone.